and good afternoon, everyone. How are you? So, welcome to another Saturday afternoon and new episode of Learning from Life Experiences. So, today we are going to talk about something which all of us are welcome to my Saturday afternoon. Hello and good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Colonel. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Anum?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah.
Great. So, welcome to another Saturday afternoon, and welcome to all our uh, people who are watching us. So, I was generally thinking about something. What do we talk about today? And I was remembering. Actually, I went for a walk in the morning, and while I was coming back, I saw a car was parked on the roadside, and there was a young boy sitting on the driver's seat and there was a young girl sitting on the seat next to him, and she was shivering and crying. So I was wondering what happened. So I just walked up to them and asked them, "I hope everything is all right. How are you? What happened? Can I help you?" So he said, "It's all right. She's having a anxiety attack." And so I said, "Can I help you? Do you need any help?" So he said, "No, no, no issues. I have got some water with me. She will be all right in a little bit." So I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yes, absolutely." I said, "Okay, fine." And I started walking back to my home. And in my mind, I was wondering as to what would be the reason for her to have that anxiety attack. And like it was something new. I had seen someone actually for the first time in my life who really in front of me having an anxiety attack. And then then it connected me with what we were discussing the other day about emotional intelligence and emotional wellness. And if you remember, we were talking about that these days, especially for the younger generation, and not only younger generation, but even for parents and people from our age group, emotional wellness and emotional intelligence is very, very important. And then I realized as to what can we do to help people like the one who I saw on the road in the morning, help them overcome these kinds of issues and become more emotionally resilient. So that brings us to our topic for the day today, Dr. Anam. And as we were talking, how can we help parents, especially because we were talking about parents, it is ultimately parents are the first teachers and they can really play an important role in their children's life. So, first of all, welcome, Dr. Anu. Good to see you and interact with you again on a very, very important topic. So, before we move forward, can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself as to where you are from, and what do you do, and then we'll take it on thereafter.
Thank you so much, Carol, for this opportunity. Hello, everyone. Hi, Mariam. Hi, Agi, Anu, Alicia, Kuba, and Tony. Tonia, if I'm not
Yeah,
saying
she's
it wrong. Okay. So I'm Dr. Anum Gohar. I'm a pharmacist and I transitioned into self-development industry back in 2020. And I did my certification in neuro-linguistic programming, Silva Ultramind, life coaching from the world-renowned coaches, including Arfin Khan, Tony Robbins, Kamran Sultan. So it's been an amazing journey working on your own self, on your own mindset. And back in 2020, I started my own venture with the name of Evolve. So here I am focused on empowering the individuals in becoming more resilient in their life while dealing with the life challenges and take the ownership of their life and their destinies. So, yes, last year I had published my own book that I have authored myself with the name Canvas of Love. It's on Amazon and Kindle. It's available on Amazon. So, yeah, this is about all about myself.
Yeah, welcome and thank you, Dr. Anum. So uh, let's start with your view on what exactly is emotional intelligence and why is it important for everybody, be it parents or children or anyone.
So, yeah, emotional intelligence is basically it's a, it's basically the ability to basically recognize, understand, and manage not only your own emotions but the emotion of the people around you. So this is what exactly the emotional intelligence is, and it basically comprises of self-awareness, self-regulation, and being more empathetic towards others. And down the lane also it includes some skills like the social skills and the skills which are very much like the scars in our society right now. And when we talk about understanding the emotional intelligence, it's a very huge field because when we talk about emotional intelligence, you have to learn about the social interaction. Since you all know that since the COVID, the world has changed. Like the people have moved towards the online venture. People are working from home, so the human interactions has been lacking for like 2 to 3 years because people are working from the comfort of their home, so the social interactions are lacking. People are not going out much, so the relationships are affecting. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, it comprises of learning about how to uh, enrich your social interactions, how to understand about building those relationships while being in a certain environment, while you are being at home, while you are dealing with the people around you, while you are managing some tough situations like managing the stressful situations. And also it also includes the making the sound decisions in your life.
Mhm. Yeah. So you brought out a very, very important point that it is something very important. Firstly, it starts with self-awareness.
Yeah.
And, that is the starting point of being of your emotional wellness, and it also helps you become more resilient mentally and emotionally, and overcome any kind of challenges that you face in your life. And Dr. Anam, you must have come across people uh, who are struggling with challenges in the current environment, especially after we were hit by COVID a few years back. In your uh, view or from your experience, what were the common reasons why people were struggling with the issues of emotional wellness or emotional intelligence? Because that will give throw a light for people who are listening to us as to they will be able to relate and realize whether this thing has happened with me also or not.
So, Colonel, when we talk about the common challenges we as
Mm-hmm.
humans are facing while maintaining our relationships, while dealing with people, while working in certain environment, the most common ones are it sometimes it becomes so difficult to recognize your own emotions
Mm-hmm.
and to regulate your emotions and to express those effectively. Like we get so overwhelmed by the situations that are happening within our environment, within our families, within our workspaces. So it becomes so difficult sometimes to remain calm and to maintain your good state, and it leads to conflicts, and
Mhm.
sometimes it leads to some
Yeah.
stressful situations, and even the worst scenarios in our life. So this is what I have came across over the years while working with people.
And do you think this also has a effect on children while they are growing up, and why is it important for parents especially to give a little bit more importance to this aspect by uh, uh, showing their children through their own action how to become emotionally strong, emotionally resilient, and also become take care of own emotional wellness.
Absolutely, it is because during the ages like 1 till 5 years, the child brain is in the development stage. So the
Yep.
memory starts to develop after the 3 4 years. So that kid will start developing some emotion of sadness, anger, and happiness, and they might remember some events, some good things that had happened, some bad things that had happened in their life. And after like 7 till 10 years, the kids, they are more prone to the emotional situations that are happening within the families, within their schools, and with their friends, because you must have seen that within your family, even with your own kids as well, that when a kid who is around the age of like 7 till 10 years, he or she might came across some bullying situation, or might came across some stressful situation, so you can see a change in behavior. Rather, when you see a kid who is in like 1 till 5 years, they are like their only motto in life is to stay happy, to
Yeah.
get the things, to just play out and go out, eat the dinner, watch television. So this is all what was happening in their life. But after those years, since their memory is developing, so they start learning about some emotions. And when certain things are happening in a family, like between the parents, so the children, they start modeling those behaviors. So they start modeling those behaviors that are happening within their parents, within themselves. So there was a study has been conducted in China back in 2016. So it was conducted in the Shenzhen city, and they have taken 400 and near about 10 students from a primary school, and the ages were near about 7 till 10. So they have conducted this study just to find out why the children are becoming so aggressive over the years. Like why there is a kind of a aggression in the teenagers and in the adulthood. So they conducted this study, and they found out that the children who were being bullied in their families and in their schools while being
Yeah.
in the 7 till 10 years of ages. So there was a percentage of near about 50% of those children who were being bullied and who were being uh, uh, supposed to, I would say, they were being uh, looked into certain situation, like stressful situations.
Mhm.
So they have developed this habit of aggression and aggressive behavior. And when we talk about aggression and aggressive behavior, it's a kind of a behavior that people show to harm themselves and
Yeah.
to harm others as well. So somewhat the emotional intelligence, it is interlinked. Like it is linked within the families, it is linked with your child development, it is linked with your future even. So
Yes.
learning about emotional intelligence is a very crucial in this time, at this point of time.
Yes. You have brought out a very important point, Dr. Anum, when you mentioned that a child starts modeling the behavior of their parents. and that is the starting point in terms of how they shape their own intelligence, emotional intelligence, or emotional wellness. Because at home as parents, we are leading by example, as we say. I mean, you lead by example. You and whatever you are doing, the in your family, we are talking to each other as husband, wife, or the way you are treating your children. It also has a very, very important effect on the psyche of the child. And it also, in a way, shapes the future, as you mentioned, of the child, his or her thought process. And one more thing you mentioned was about bullying, because that is a very, very common thing which most of the children face in school, younger when they are growing up. And if they are getting bullied at school, and when they come home and they share this with their parents, and if the parents help them how to overcome that situation, how to assert themselves and take on the bully, it has a very, very important effect on the child. However, at times, as you mentioned, we as parents also end up bullying our children. And it happens when you're angry at your child, or at times you're setting conditions to them in terms of what is a good behavior and what is a bad behavior. And I am reminded of that story of carrot and stick. Like if we follow the carrot and stick policy with our children, it
Hmm.
will have a different effect. And other option is that you appreciate them and accept them, and also reward them for everything that they achieve in their life, everything that they are doing good. And in case they are not doing something in a correct manner, instead of uh, shouting at them, or instead of punishing them, you sit down with them and tell them that that action that you did was not correct, and you could have done differently. And most of the time, what we try to do is we try that to correct the child and not the action. We don't go for the root cause. So, is that also one of the reasons for uh, shaping the emotional wellness and emotional intelligence of the child?
It is because when I coach parents regarding this thing specifically, when they come to me and they say this to me, that my child is becoming so much stubborn over the years, and it is difficult now to deal with him. So my only question to them is, what is your way of communication with your child? How do you communicate? Communicate with me in the same tone, in the same pitch, in the same manner right now. So believe it or not, they become silent, because deep down they know that their own communication, their own behavior is a very like toxic one with their own
Yes.
children. So that is why the children, they are modeling the behaviors. They are getting it from their parents. And right now it is the need of time that parents need to recognize this, that they have to work on their mindset if they want to raise emotionally strong generation. Because right now, the only in this era, the only struggle that the people are facing right now is the mental health, believe it or
Yeah.
not. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
once the people, they start recognizing it, that yeah, we have to work on our own mindset and the mindset of our children as well. And it only starts with your own self first, because
Yes.
once you're able to recognize your own toxic patterns, your own limitations, it becomes so easier to lead your generation.
And so you again brought a very important point. It all starts from self, and
Yeah.
so parents have to work to firstly become more emotionally resilient, and also show this through example and display what they are doing through their actions, so that their children can also become more emotionally resilient, and also they develop that kind of emotional intelligence that they will help them in future in their life and their career and other areas. So, Dr. Anum, one more thing which comes to my mind is that many a times, because if we talk about our generation, when we were growing up, these things we were not aware about these things like what is emotional wellness, what is emotional intelligence. Only thing that we do was IQ, which was for a child to be become a genius in academics. And when it came to mental wellness, also, it only thing that people used to talk about was mental. It was more of a taboo that time to talk about mental health or mental wellness. But
Because
now things people have realized the importance and they are accepting it also.
yeah,
And
people think you as you might be struggling with a psychiatric illness if
yeah,
you talk about a mental health or mental support.
absolutely. Yeah. So now, firstly, what can the parents do? Firstly, to become more, develop their own emotional wellness and their own what you call emotional intelligence. Because until they themselves are not better, how can they help their children? So, what can the parents do to first develop their own emotional wellness and emotional intelligence quotient, or can we also we hear about this term very commonly these days, EQ, emotional quotient, which people talk about. So, can you tell a little bit about EQ and why, and how can parents develop this for themselves?
So, Colonel, when we talk about developing the emotional intelligence, people think about maybe it's a rocket science. Like the emotional intelligence may be a difficult thing to manage and it might involve some difficult activities, but it is quite simple. Like what you have to do is that you have to lead by example. You have to be an example to your children. So how you can do that? Firstly, you have to start working on your own self. Whenever you have a communication with your children, ask them, encourage them to be open, so that they feel this acknowledgement that yeah, my mother or my father is listening to me. They are interested in listening to my stories, to my views. So once you will be able to develop that rapport, because it starts with the communication first. Once you are able to develop that rapport between your child, so you will be able to overcome that gap. So once that gap is filled with communication, what you can do next is that, let's say if your child is struggling with some emotions like maybe sadness, anger, aggression, stubbornness, what you have to do is that you have to acknowledge their emotions. You just have to say to them that, yeah, I can truly understand what you are going through. But, beta, this is not the way to show the emotion. Let us discuss about it. Let us talk about it. Let's go for a walk. Let's go to the beach and discuss about this emotion. Why you are struggling with anger, why you are struggling with sadness, why you are sad, why you are feeling so down today. So discuss about it, teach them emotional literacy, so they will feel this acknowledgement that yeah, my emotions are being valued in my family, so my parents are valuing my emotions. Then the third step that you can do is that encourage the problem solving activities. Present them with some situations, give them some tasks, some difficult tasks, some intermediate tasks to manage over the weekend, and see how they can manage that task within the time frame, how they can manage that with the responsibility. So it will help them develop some skills, some problem solving skills later on in their life. When they came across with some maybe some challenging situations, these things will be a source of guide for them, will be a resource for them. What you can do next after that is you can cultivate empathy in them. So how to cultivate empathy? It's a very easiest thing to do. as we know that there are some orphanages, some old homes, and some caretaking homes in our society, in our city. So you can arrange a tour with your family to those homes and to those orphanages. Encourage your children to save some money for that month, and tell them that beta, we are going to visit this orphanage, this old home, and we'll be taking with us some gifts, some things with us, and we'll be spending our day with those people. So they will recognize that, yeah, we have to be empathize towards the people in our society, and towards the people who are living below the economic age. So they will develop some good emotions towards the people, some helping kind of emotions towards the people. And down the lane, what you can do next is that you can develop some boundaries, some challenge, some boundaries that can lead to some consequences. So let's say a very common example that I want to share here is that one of my client, she shared with me that my child is a very stubborn, too much stubborn, and he just want everything according to his own timing. He just want to sleep late. He play video games. Next morning when he wakes up late, he's very anxious because he wants to go to school. He hasn't completed his homework, and he, because of the lack of sleep, he wasn't feeling good. So there were a lot of things going on. So I shared with her that you have to set some boundaries. You have to teach him about the concept of boundaries. And how you can do that, you have to tell your child or kid, what you have to do is you have to tell them that this is the routine that we will follow. Like, we will sleep at 9 or 10 at night, and you'll wake up at 5 or at 6. So when you wake up at 6, you will have time till 9 p.m. in the night. So you will have a very good day timing. Like, you can go to school. After that, when you come back, you can have some time for rest, and then we can go out and play. Then you can come back and watch some TV, or maybe some time for like your video games or whatever, and then you can study. So when you manage your time, you create some boundaries, you will have a very effective day. So we create boundaries to have a good and a prosperous life. So teach them the positive meaning of things. So in this manner, your child will be so much emotionally strong and equipped with good emotions, that later on it becomes so easier for him or her to manage the social interactions, to manage the teamwork, to be the leader in their, maybe in their sports team, maybe in their school, maybe in their some kind of volunteering activities. And one more thing that the parents need to do is that they have to celebrate the progress of their child.
Yeah,
You know, when your
it is very
child
important.
is, yeah, when your child is doing something, even that child has washed the dishes, has prepared the table for the meal, celebrate it, appreciate it, appreciate him or her, like, beta, you have done an amazing job today, you have helped your mother in this task. Even your child has planted a seed, celebrate it, that my child has now planted a seed. So when you acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of your children, so it becomes so easier to manage the emotions of your children, because down the lane you are putting so much resources by doing these activities in your children's mind, that becomes a source of a good foundation for the later ages.
Yes. Dr. Anum, you brought out some very important points. Uh, what you talked about setting boundary, where like we can also for the people to understand it. It could be developing a sense of self discipline. If we
Yeah.
meeting a self of discipline, and self discipline will help the parents to create those boundaries that you were talking about. And one more thing you talked about was empathy and developing that feeling of empathy and mindfulness and the activities which you suggested, go out there to orphanages or where people are staying and do some social service, help people, collect like save money and do some good activity to help people. So that will create a feeling of empathy in the children and help them become a very good human beings. And one more thing you talked about was uh, celebrating their actions, whatever they do. So they will feel when you are celebrating their actions or activities or small uh, achievements, it will give them a feeling of pride in themselves, and it will also make the child realize, yes, I have certain good qualities. I am also being supported by my parents, because at times just by saying that we support you is not good enough. You have to actually show this by your actions. And so, as Anushi mentioned, says that I could connect with reinforcement theory in psychology in child. Yeah, Anushi, correct. And one more thing which Nasi had mentioned was uh, about patience. Yes, we have to when we are able to help our children learn patience by doing these activities. It really helps their growth. Yeah, and as Lasanya says, self growth and self esteem. So yes, Dr. Anum, the parents can really play a very important, or I would say they are the first person who can really shape the future of their child by doing all these activities and by developing a feeling of empathy, mindfulness, patience, and compassion for others. And as you mentioned, when you are doing certain activities together as a family, that also helps the child in developing the feeling of emotional wellness and emotional intelligence. So that is a great, I would say, great points that you brought out for our audience who are watching us today. And one more thing which I want to ask you, especially for the younger parents, uh, what would be your message for your younger parents to firstly uh, develop that emotional intelligence and emotional wellness for themselves, and thereafter impart the same in their children. So what would be your one easiest tip for a young parents who or a person or who are about to become parents to start on a right note from the beginning?
So, Colonel, when a younger parents they came to me for coaching and they are struggling with the child's stubbornness and the negative attitude of their children. So my only message to them is that emotional intelligence, when we talk about fostering emotional intelligence, it's not just a single step, it's
Yeah,
a journey. It's a
it will continue.
lifelong journey. So it's a continued journey. So what you have to do is you have to take small step every single day. It's not about the end, it's not about the result, it's not about the outcome. It's only about taking that small, very small step every single day and giving that feeling to your child that yeah, I respect you and I acknowledge you. You are important in my life, and everything that is happening around, we can figure it out. Sometimes the parents they didn't even know what their child is struggling with, because sometimes it becomes difficult to understand your child, their behavior and their attitude. What you have to do in that single moment is just you have to show them empathy, and you have to say to them that yeah, I trust you and we can figure this out. So there are a lot of parents, they've become so overwhelmed with the emotional challenges that are happening. So sometimes when they're overwhelmed, they say this to their children, but I don't know what to do in this situation. Just leave me alone so that we can figure this out. You know what it does is that it creates a negative impact in the mind of the child. That the child starts feeling that there is no solution to my problem. There is no solution to this emotion, and these things are happening. Alternatively, if you say this to your child that, beta, that's perfectly okay if you are struggling with this, things happen in life, we'll figure this out. Don't worry. We'll figure this out. Just stay strong, be brave, and we'll overcome this. In that scenario, it will reshape the perspective of looking at that situation in the mind of that children. So it will reshape all of the experiences that are happening and in that moment in the mind of that child. So my only message to the parents of those children is that just take small steps every single day. One day you will be able to overcome all of the challenges, and you will be able to raise mentally strong children, emotionally strong children, inshallah.
Yes, absolutely. And one more point Nasiha has brought out is that uh, maintain confidentiality of the conversation which you are having with your children, and don't discuss with their aunts and uncles and other people. And then because then they will feel that my parents told this to my is them their uncle and aunt, and they unnecessarily come by at times come with unwanted advice which hurts the child, and it also develops the feeling of mistrust, as somebody mentioned. Trust is very important between the parents and children. And also one more point which Praveen had mentioned was that more hugs than
Less stuck.
hugging and less tugging with children is very, very important. And
Absolutely.
and also to tell them that yes, it's okay to make mistakes. We have also made mistakes, but don't worry. As you mentioned, we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
So that is very important. And one more thing I realized was that at times we have to treat children as human beings and give them the respect. Just because they are small and they are, we have given them birth, that doesn't give us the right to, tell them that we are right and you are wrong. Because this is also very important in terms of creating that trust and giving them an open atmosphere or environment to express themselves freely with you. And and you must have realized, you must have interacted with so many parents also, and you have also interacted with children. And we have one of one young girl here in the audience. Anushri, she says, in case of mistakes, we can console them and make them aware not to repeat that mistake in polite way. Yes, politeness and respect. We have to show respect and politeness to our children, because they will follow the same what we are doing with them, and they will similarly treat others also in the same manner. So, yes, Dr. Anum, thank you very much. It was a great, I would say, uh, interaction with you, and I am sure our audience would have taken lots of takeaways from this conversation with us, especially those who are becoming young parents. And as Natia says, walk with even if we belittle or mock, won't make them in a joke, they won't come back to us. Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much, Dr. Anam. So what would be your, I would say, final tip to our audience who are out there, whether they are children or parents? So what is one simple, easiest step that we can do to become emotionally resilient, emotionally intelligent, and better human beings, and show the way to our children also, especially for the parents. Your message to the parents, not the children.
Okay. So, one tip that I follow as well is that start journaling.
Okay.
Because when you start journaling every single day, like start writing what you are feeling every single day. Maybe some points, maybe some paragraphs. Once you are able to recognize, like after a week, when you read those pages, you will be able to recognize the emotions you have been through. So then you will be able to focus on how you have treated your family, your kids, maybe your work colleagues, your friends while being in those emotions. So you'll be mindful of your actions and your emotions. So it starts with a lot of things. So this is what I follow every single day. Whenever I go through some challenges or some situations, I start journaling. Although I do journaling, but there is a kind of a thing like I used to write some steps. But when I came across some challenging situations, I start it like in a very clean manner. I used to write paragraphs and things and the things that I am feeling. And believe it or not, it gives me so much satisfaction when I started writing, because once you write your own feelings on a paper and when you read it, you will see that how you have spent your whole day while being in that emotion, and how much time you have consumed with that feeling and that emotion, and you haven't been productive and you haven't done something. So it gives you so much self awareness about a lot of things. So journaling is the best exercise that we can do to regulate our emotions and to regulate our own feelings and to manage our days and to manage our tasks. This is the best way to do it.
Thank you, Dr. Anum. It was really great. In fact, this point which you brought about that write down your feelings and emotions when you are facing a challenge. This is something great because firstly, we have expressed everything on a piece of paper so that that way we are not hurting anyone and we are not causing distress to others. Uh, uh, Meanwhile, we are able to vent out everything which is going through our mind and later on when we read it, it makes us understand the feeling, what and reflect on everything. That is really something new which I was also not aware. So thank you very much, Dr. Anum, and thank you for the amazing interaction. And I also want to thank our audience who are listening to us for coming and taking out their time and participating with their own views also. And we look forward to see you again and have a great weekend and great day ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank
And bye
you.
bye. Take care.
Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.